day of heavy hitters yesterday at CPAC, including Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, who has come out denying that he was comparing union protesters in Wisconsin to terrorists when he said this.
I want a commander-in-chief who will do everything in their power to ensure that the threat from radical Islamic terrorists do not wash up on American soil. If I can take on 100,000 protesters, I can do the same across the world.
That raised some eyebrows. Reince Priebus, chairman of the Republican National Committee, with us now live. How are you, Reince? And good morning and welcome back here to America's Newsroom. What did you think of that comment? Does he have to defend it?
No, I think what it's really about is a comment about being decisive, about leadership, and the fact that we don't have a decisive leader in the White House, and that even in difficult times, I think what he's saying is that I've been decisive even in the face of a lot of difficult things happening in Wisconsin. I think that's really what he's talking about, and clearly I think this is another issue that the media is going off on instead of, I think, worrying more about the fact that Hillary Clinton is taking millions of dollars into a foundation while she's Secretary of State from countries like Oman and Saudi Arabia and Algeria.
I'll get to that in a moment.
More important things to analyze.
I'll get that in a moment. Here is an aide to Governor Walker said this on screen. Governor Walker believes our fight against ISIS is one of the most important issues our country faces. He was in no way comparing any American citizen to ISIS. What the governor was saying was when faced with adversity, he chooses strength and leadership. Those are the qualities we need to fix the leadership void this White House has created, end quote. He will talk to Chris Wallace on Sunday. I imagine he'll have more to say about this. But you're saying no big deal?
No, I think what I'm saying is that, if you look at the entire answer and you parse out one sentence and try to claim that he's making a comparison to protesters and ISIS, I think is a little ridiculous.
You mentioned Hillary Clinton. So did Carly Fiorina. Often, in fact. Listen here.
Mrs. Clinton, please name an accomplishment. And in the meantime, please accept and explain why we should accept that the millions and millions of dollars that have flowed into the Clinton Foundation from foreign governments do not represent a conflict of interest.
And she went on, has this been more about the Republican Party so far, or has it been about Secretary Clinton?
Well, I think it's a little of both. I think Carly did a great job yesterday, and, she asked us an important question. I think if you want to stump any liberal out there, ask him to name one of Hillary Clinton's accomplishments. It's pretty hard to do. I don't know how Hillary takes a 3 a.m. call, Bill, if she's the president and she gets a 3 a.m. call from some person that gave millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation, how that doesn't compromise her position. I think that's a much more serious issue to talk about than some of the things that media has been parsing around over the last few days from comments made by our candidates that really don't amount to a whole lot.
Well, the State Department is already dismissing it. The fact the process was not followed and this incident does not raise concerns with us. What do you think about that reaction so far from the State Department?
Well, look, if you look at the Obama administration as a whole, whether it be the IRS or Eric Holder and now the State Department, they don't think anything's a big deal. When you're compromising yourself as Secretary of State, when you should be representing our country overseas, but instead you're taking in millions of dollars into your own private foundation, I don't see how that's not a big deal. In fact, I think that the media ought to demand that before she actually files her registration papers for president, that she fully disclose every single nickel that's come into the Clinton Foundation, how the money got there, when it got there, who asked for the check, and where the money is today.
Well, are you charging today that she was just traveling to raise money?
Well, who knows? It's a possibility because, I know from, I've got to raise money for the Republican Party. Money just doesn't flow in voluntarily many times. Someone has to make the call. Someone has to ask for the money. Someone has to collect the check, give wire transfer information to the person sending the check. It's not that easy, and so there's a lot of people that are involved in this and a lot of fingerprints, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hillary's fingerprints are all over it.
Well, we will see more reporting on this and whether or not that is the case. Reince Priebus, in the meantime, enjoy CPAC. Thanks for your time today.
You bet. Thank you.
All right.